Good morning, everyone, and welcome along to today's webinar. We're looking at Sage 50 accounts. It's one of the webinars from our corrections series of webinars that we're running at the moment. Today we're looking at correcting journals. The session should last around about 45 minutes. Hopefully you can stick with me for that length of time. Loads of examples to go through in today's session as well. Just before we get started, as normal, we like to run just a little bit of housekeeping, just so you know what's going to be happening and how you can engage with us during the session today. First of all, though, you don't need a microphone for these sessions. If you've got one, it will be muted automatically. You can't unmute yourself during the session today. And that just means if you've got any questions, you'll need to type them into the questions panel. To access that, you just need to click the little speech bubble icon, give it a click. It'll expand the panel. You'll have access to the box in the bottom right-hand corner. So that's where you can enter any questions or comments. Pop them in there. Remember to click send. I'm sure we've all had emails, and if you work in Teams, you've typed in a message, you forgot to click send, and you're wondering why you didn't get an answer. Make sure you click send. It'll pop up on our screens and we'll try and get an answer to you. Today we're joined by Jackie will be in the background assisting and helping to answer those questions as you submit them. So you may get a straightforward answer, you may get a link to a help article to assist you further. Maybe it's more detailed steps, or it may be that if it's a bit more specific, that we encourage you to get in touch with our support team. But keep your questions coming. Do engage with us. Anything and everything, pop it in there. Anything you're not sure about, or maybe you see something in the background and you didn't quite catch it, let us know. So that will be available to you throughout. There is an opportunity to download copies of the slides that we use today as well. However, they are not detailed. They're not supposed to be. They are just copies of the slides. You can do that via the handout option. If you want the detailed steps, then get into our help center. There's great step-by-step guide information and detailed information in there. Today is more about telling you a little bit about the options that you've got available and showing you the software in action and how to go about correcting the journals. As usual, you will receive an email later today. So around about an hour after we finish, you'll receive an automated email from us thanking you for attending. That will include a link to a recording of today's session. So if you need a bit of a recap, it'll include a link to our registration page. So if you want to register for some of our other corrections webinars or any other webinar that we're running for that matter, they're all free to attend. Get yourself registered. And also, it will include a link to our other recordings as well. So if you've missed any sessions, there's well over 100 recordings available now, different areas of the software, different processes, procedures, you name it, hopefully that's in there. So watch out for that one. Keep the links handy as well. It's always the same links in case you want to register for webinars. Right, let's have a look at what we're going to be covering in this session. So we're going to start with a basic introduction to correcting journals and just journals in general. We'll then get stuck into some demonstrations covering the options that you've got available to you, so the edit delete options and how it differs between how transactions were entered into your accounts as well. We'll look at manual corrections, an option that you've always got available to you. You can always post an additional journal, nothing to stop you doing that. So we'll look at that as an option as well. But also the journal reversal option. A lot of people don't realize that that's there. And if you do realize it's there, you might be thinking, oh, I've never clicked it because I didn't really know what it does. It can be a good time saver, that one, and save you almost like digging a further hole for yourself. So it's a good option, it's a good little time saver, that one as well. We'll be running through that one. And then just at the end, we'll explain more about the additional support that's available, pick up the outstanding questions and give you an idea of some of those webinars we've got coming up as well. Our timetable currently runs up to the end of December, so do check that out. Right, okay, let's get started then. So when we're talking about journals, probably the thing that immediately springs to mind when you're discussing journals is debits and credits. I mean, yes, people do get them the wrong way around. And when you're new to accounting, the concept of debits and credits, you always think of your bank account and whether you're in credit with it, but actually a credit balance against the bank is a negative value, so it would decrease your bank balance in your accounts. So people do get them the wrong way around when they're thinking of basic journals. But it's not just debits and credits. There's loads of aspects to a journal. There's the date, the reference, maybe just forgetting to pop one in there or popping a typo or just wanting to change it. The nominal code, posting something to the wrong nominal code. You might have two which are very similar names, and actually you've chosen the wrong one when you've done that. The extra reference that you can enter against each line, the department number. If you use the charities option, you might have allocated something to the wrong fund. The details, again, either just forgetting to put it in or maybe not knowing what to put in at the time and you need to amend it. Things like the tax code. Probably the majority of your journals will be a T9 tax code, but there will be exceptions to that. And also, of course, the amount. Now, your journal obviously still has to balance, so but it could be that you've put the wrong value against aspects to journals that you may need to correct. It's not just about those debits and credits, although that is something we do often support customers with when they're looking at journals, whether that's for entering opening balances or things like the purchase of machinery or vehicles on hire purchase, that type of thing, or even just things like salary journals. But it could be anything, whatever you might post a journal for. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. What options do you have if you do make a mistake with a journal? So we'll run through some demonstrations just to give you an idea what options you do have. So hopefully when you do come to that point, if you do make a mistake, that you're armed with the ammunition, you know where to go to or what options you've got available to you to be able to post that correction. And hopefully you'll be able to use the first one, the edit and delete option, as it makes it really, really simple. So we'll run through these three options. I've included on the slides some links, so working with journals, for instance, if you downloaded the slides, those links will actually take you to the relevant Help Center article, and that should help you to get at the information a little bit easier, but it should be easy to find that information anyway in our Help Center, should you need it. So we're going to start with correcting journals first of all. Now, we're up to version 30, and we're in the process as of this week of starting to roll out version 31, I think it is. I think it's this week. So you'll start to hear about that. So, but way back in version 22, we added the edit and delete options for journals. You've always had those options, but they became applicable to journals at this point in version 22. So been around for quite some time now. Now, it enables you to, when you select your journal within your transactions list or maybe within your nominal activity, if it's a journal you've manually entered into your accounts or a bank transfer, or if it's an import journal, so if you've used the transaction import option, then it enables you to, if you highlight one of those journals or one line of the journal, when you click edit or even the delete option, as long as it was entered in one of those three ways, it will give you the ability to either just make a change, it will load the journal for you, and then you can either delete it or you can make amends to the original journal. So that's what we're going to look at in the first instance, the edit and delete option, because hopefully that's what you'll be able to use for the majority of your journals. So let's switch across to my screen and we'll have a look at these options first of all. Right, so you should see my software at that point. Now I am using an old set of data for this one, just for the purpose of the demo. So we're going all the way back to 2018 in this set of data that we're picking up on today. But all we've really got on this, or in this set of data in Sage, is a series of journals. So in the transaction list, we've got loads of JDs and JCs, and they've all been entered in slightly different ways. So I've got some depreciation journals at the top here, which were just manually entered, where I've gone into nominal codes and chosen the journal entry option, and I've keyed it in that way. We've got, what else have we got entered on this set of data? We've also got some closing stock journals. again, just manually entered. I've got a bank transfer, which for that one, I use the transfer option within bank accounts. So moving money between bank accounts, it just means posting that journal just makes it that much easier. You don't have to worry about the debits and credits. You just say, right, I want to transfer an amount from this specific bank account to this one, and just makes that nice and easy. I've got some salary journals which have been entered manually. Now, salary journals can be absolutely enormous. This is a really short one where there's how many we got there? So we got 7 lines on that journal, but it's not unheard of when you work on our support team to come across people who have salary journals, which 50 lines plus, maybe even 100 lines plus. So salary journals can be enormous. Excuse me. It just depends how you want to break that down. Now we've also got some. I've got this rent journal, which this was posted by the rent option. It was posted by the prepayments option. So whenever on month end, I've used the prepayments option within the software to do that. I've also got some salaries which have been imported. Now it could be that you've done that via the nominal link as well. So different journals will give you different options depending how you've done that. Now, if we just pick on this one at the top, this is a journal that I entered manually, and I intended to post some depreciation. Now, normally for a depreciation journal, what you do is you would credit your fixed asset nominal code, and you would debit your expense nominal code in your overheads. That's normally what you do. And you can see in this case, the journal debit has been posted to the actual fixed asset depreciation nominal code, to the 0051. So let's say we want to amend that. Now it could be that we've in this case, we've got the values the wrong way around. We've debited where we should have credited and vice versa. So if we highlight this journal, it doesn't matter what part of this journal I highlight, whether it's transaction number 1 or number 2, but if I click edit, it loads the journal for me. So this is the original journal that I manually entered to essentially post that depreciation into my accounts. And as you can see, I've got the values the wrong way around. So again, as we mentioned earlier, it's probably one of those things that people do make a mistake with. They're just not really paying attention, or maybe they don't understand it, and they've just put the debits and credits the wrong way around. Now, this option where I have entered it manually and I want to amend it, it means that it loads the journal when I've clicked edit. And what I can now do is I can go in and make changes to it. So prior to version 22, which I mentioned earlier, you would have had to do this manually. You would have had to reverse it and then post another correcting journal, which we'll come on to a little bit later on. Now I can change whatever I want with this journal when I'm in the edit screen. So if I posted something to the wrong nominal code, I can go in and change that. I can add additional lines into the journal. So if, for instance, I had a value of, let's say, £100, and that actually, maybe that should have been split between 2 different nominal codes, I could do that. So I could just click down and make whatever changes I want. So it loads the journal that you've already posted, and you can make whatever changes. So actually, let's just change the date just for the sake of argument. We'll do it on the 25th of that month rather than the 31st. I'm not too concerned that normally you do depreciation or the end of the month or whatever, or the end of your financial year. I'm just going to basically show you that you can make that change if required. So make whatever changes you need to. So again, it could be simple as something as a typo in the details. You can amend it if required. So let me just, actually, I'll put my initials on the end there so you can see on that one. And then what we'll do is we'll just save the changes. Now your journal obviously still has to balance the debits and credits, the totals at the bottom here. They've still got to be they've still got to be equal. And we'll just save that. Now what you'll see when you amend a journal is at the top here, these original journals, if I just click away from them, you can see the original journal that was posted that I've just amended is now in red. And in the details, it says cancel, see transaction 25 and see transaction 26. So you've got that sort of traceability. So what the software does, it cancels the original journal because it can in this instance. And it posts an additional journal. If I just scroll down, you can see the new journal at the bottom here. So the dated the 25th, the credit and the debit are now against the correct nominal codes. And you can see that the details where I put my initials on the end of that one there. So it's got a, basically, it's done a new journal on the end. The original one is in red. Go back up to the top. So it shows it's being cancelled. So that no longer affects my account when it's in red there. And we've got the new one on the bottom. So you can see it here. So essentially it's posted a new journal for us. Right, let's pick on another one. So let's say this one here as an example. Actually, we'll do this one. Transaction 5 and 6. So this was posted as a bank transfer. So let's say I've made a mistake and maybe I've posted that journal twice. I've done that bank transfer twice and I think, right, well, actually this one, I don't need to amend it. I just need to remove it. So again, historically, prior to version 22, you would have gone in and you would have had to manually reverse that by posting another journal. But what we've got now is, because it was entered in one of the ways that allows you to edit or delete it, we can just highlight any line of this bank transfer. And then in this case, we just say, right, we want to get rid of it, so we want to delete it. So I'll click delete. Again, it loads the journal. Now, I'm not wanting to make amends this time. All I want to do is I want to remove it. So I've got the delete option at the bottom. It just confirms, do you wish to delete this journal entry? So we're going to click yes to that. And rather than it saying cancel, see transaction 25 or 26, which means an additional journal has been posted. This time it just says deleted JC or deleted GD. So again, these transactions appear in red. They're no longer live. That journal has been, although it's still listed in transactions, it doesn't impact on my accounts anymore. It has actually been deleted. I'm sure you'll probably be familiar with transactions appearing in red from maybe when you first started using Sage. Probably made quite a few mistakes then when you were new to it. So again, you might be familiar with editing and deleting, and it makes it really flexible, makes it much easier to edit your journals. Any questions on what we've covered so far? Keep them coming if you do have any. Again, we've got Jackie on hand just to help answer those. Right, now, sometimes you will be in a position, if we just pop back to the slides, where you're going to correct a journal, and this is what you used to have for all journals prior to version 22, before you were able to edit and delete them. But there are still some instances where, depending on the way that journals have been posted, that you won't be able to just edit them or delete them. And I've got a few examples of that on the screen there. So if you run a year end, the automated year-end postings that get posted into Sage by the year-end process, those journals, you won't just be able to go in and delete them or edit them. If anyone's on the professional level of the software, if you post prepayments or accruals, the automatic option is part of the month-end process. Again, you won't be able to just go in and edit or delete those. You'll be limited as to what you can do. Similar for depreciation. So again, if you're on the professional level, you use the fixed assets register. You'll be limited as to what you can do. You'll get a screen similar to what we've got on the right there. You'll see that one in a moment. Rather than just the edit and delete options that we just looked at. And finally, the nominal link option. So if you use Sage 50 Payroll and you integrate it, so you use the nominal link to push that payroll information into your accounts, rather than you sitting keying it in, then again, you'll be limited as to what you can do with that information. What you will be able to edit still are essentially the text-based fields. So the things like the reference, the extra reference, the description, the details. But things like nominal codes, values, tax codes, dates, you can't. So you are restricted. And that's where, which we'll look at in a moment, that's where things like the manual reversal journal would come in. Right, let's have a look at that then. So let's have a look at what it looks like. Go back to my screen and we'll just pick that up. Right, now here's one that's where I've used the prepayment option in this case. So I am using the professional level, but this is a journal that does not enable me to just go in and edit it or delete it in the way we've already looked at. So if I highlight part of this journal and we click edit at the top, we get a different screen this time. So this is the limited or the limited editor, as it were. What you'd be familiar with probably if you edited likes of a bank payment or a bank receipt or a batch invoice or a batch credit. This is probably a screen that you'd be familiar with. But you'll see that most of the fields, they're grayed out. So I can't amend the date. Values, even if I click edit at the bottom, we'll go into this sort of where you're editing the individual item line. You can't, the nominal code's grayed out, the date's grayed out, department's grayed out. If you use charities, the fund option is grayed out, the values are grayed out, tax code, they're all grayed out. I can't amend them. I can amend the details, the text-based fields. So as far as the journal is concerned, that's what you would term the non-critical field. Just close out of that, and you can see the reference and the description at the top. I can change those. But what I can't do is amend the other ones. So quite restricted in that way. So if it was just a typo in the description, that's fine. You can amend that or the reference. But if you need to amend anything else, such as you've posted it on the wrong date or something like that, then you're going to be restricted as to what you can do with that. Right. Now, obviously, if you were in a position that maybe you've, for whatever reason, you've just done the likes of your nominal link posting from Sage 50 Payroll, if you were in a position where maybe you've backed up your accounts before that, then if you are in a position, you might be able to restore. But generally, when it comes to correcting journals, you probably find that you've probably done quite a bit of work since then, so it's not practical to do that. It's always an option, but it's not practical because you'd be restoring back to a point in time, and if you've done anything else since then, essentially it's going to remove that. It's going to restore your data back to a certain point in time. So what other options have you got? If you're in this position and you edit a journal in this way and you think, oh, it won't let me, similar for delete for that matter. So if I go in and still with this rent one selected, if I click delete, you'll see that it brings up the same screen where I was limited when I tried to edit it, but you'll see the delete option's grayed out, so it doesn't let me. And it's because it's not classed as what you would term a grouped journal. Whereas when I entered a one that was manually entered, if I click delete, obviously it loads that screen instead. So that's a proper group journal, that one. Right, again, any questions, keep them coming. And you mentioned there just about whether to use debit or credit if you want to move money from one nominal code to another. We're looking at corrections today rather than just the basics of posting journals. There is a webinar recording on journals though, and we also have information on things like that in our Sage University. So Sage University, free to access that one, free training in there. So loads of e-learning content, whether it's the basics of bookkeeping that you're after or anything else, do have a look at that. Just a case of heading to sageu.com. But do check out the webinar recording as well though, Anne, if you get a chance. Right, okay, let's head back to the slides just for a moment. Next, I want to pick up on, if I can display the slide for you. I want to pick up on manual corrections next. Now, manual corrections it's an option that's always available to you. You can always go into nominal codes and post another journal. Now, to post a reversing journal, what you do is you basically post the same journal as what you've already posted. Use the same details, so same date, nominal code, tax code, but all you do is you reverse the debits and credits. Now, the date's important. The reason that the date's important is that really for your management reports, the likes of your trial balance, for instance, it runs on monthly periods, your trial balance. So if you've got a debit posted to a nominal code and actually you want to reverse that, you need to post a credit, and you want that to fall in the same period as the original, so that when you run the likes of your management reports, it reverses it out in the same period. So it corrects it, essentially it corrects it for you. Gracias, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right there. You're just asking. I'll come back to your question in a moment if you don't mind. We'll just pick up manual corrections first of all. So what you need to do if you need to post a manual reversal, and I'm going to show you a shortcut for this one in just a few minutes. But if you need to reverse a journal, it's to enter the same details as the original, and then it's just a case of swapping the original debit credit values around. So essentially to reverse it. So what you need to do, make a note of your journal. Now I've got an example there, but I think I deleted that one earlier. So I'll use a different one when I share my screen here. So we'll just pop back to my screen. And what we'll do, we'll just pick up on this one as an example. So here we've got a journal debit. It's transaction number 3. It was posted to nominal code 1001, and it is dated 30th of the 10th, 2018 in this case. So you need the original date. And it's for £1,000. So make a note of the information that you need to be able to post a journal. So what was originally posted? This one, next part of that journal is a JC. That was for 5201. Again, obviously it uses the same date. It's part of the same journal. And again, that was for £1,000. So it's a simple 2-line journal, this one. But let's say I want to reverse that. Now, all I would need to do, make a note of that basic information that I need to be able to post a journal. So what's actually being posted. And then we would just go into nominal codes, journal entry, and we want to pop the reversing details in there. So I'm just going to put correct as the reference. I'll pop in the date. So the original journal was, in this case, it's a while ago, 30th of the 10th, 2018. So same date as the original. Pop in the first nominal code that was included in that journal. And I'll just put correction in the details. T9 tax code. Most journals you will post with a T9 tax code. You don't want them, generally you wouldn't want your journals to be picked up on a VAT return, so it'll pick up the non-VATable tax code by default. There will be exceptions to that. I'm sure someone's about to start typing, oh, sometimes I post with a T1. Yes, there will be exceptions, but generally the majority of your journals, such as bank transfers, salary journals, that type of thing, or just moving a balance between 2 different nominal codes, it will be classed as being non-VATable, so T9. Now, the original entry against 1001 was a journal debit, so to reverse that, what I want to do is pop in the value in the credit column. The second line of the journal was to my closing stock nominal code, so 5201. I want the same details, so I can either click the button at the top here to copy that information down, or I can just press F6 on the keyboard. And whatever's in the box above, it copies that down for me. So I want it to be T9. And this time, the original entry against this one was to credit it. So this time, I'm going to enter the value in the debit column. And that's how you post a correcting journal. I just need to basically, same details as the original, same nominal codes. I just need to reverse those debit and credit values. Date's the important part. Save it, and that's it done. So that would be useful in a position where you're not able to just go in and edit or delete the journals because of the way they've been entered it. Now, there was a question that came in there. Why do we have a difference on which journals you can edit or delete? Is it because of any legal requirements? It's not because of any legal requirements at all. It's just the way the software is designed and how those journals are brought into your software, the way that it's written into your data. So if you do it manually these days, it enables it to group the transactions properly. If, however, you use the likes of the year-end option, the prepayments, the accruals, the fixed assets register to post your depreciation, or you use the likes of the nominal link, the way it posts that information into your accounts, although the transactions are consecutive on your transactions list, they're not what we would term a grouped journal. And that's where you would then be limited as to what you can edit on that journal. So this is the alternative. This is how to do that and how to reverse it manually. Hope that explains that. It's not a legal thing, it's just a limitation of the software. Right, okay, we're going to go back to the slides. And I want to next, and the final sort of demo I want to pick up on today is the journal reversal option. Now, I mentioned earlier, some journals will be, you might come across them yourself, salary journals where you want to break things down by departments or payment types or even different types of employees. You want to break it down. You might have loads of different pension schemes that you need to include as part of your salary journals, loads of different deduction types. So sometimes journals can be really lengthy. As I say, it's not unheard of, a journal 100 lines plus. So if imagine you having to do that manually, having to reverse a journal manually, something of that size. Don't want to have to do that. So this is where the journal reversal option comes in. It's been around for a long time. It's been in all levels of the software since going all the way back to 2014. If anyone has used Sage that long, not just myself and Jackie, but if anyone else has been using Sage that long, then you may remember where you didn't have this option and you would have had to go into journals and manually reverse it. But you've now got this journal reversal option. I'm going to show you how to use it. The idea with this is that you use it to find your journal that you want to reverse. You then select that journal and then you say, right, reverse that one for me. So it avoids having to do it manually like I've just demonstrated. So it's quick and it ensures that you do it correctly. Let's have a quick look at that then. So back to my screen, we'll run through a quick example. So let's pop into the transactions list and I'm just going to pick on this one here, this salary journal here that I've got entered. Now, I flagged it as being imported. Now, if I look at this one and I edit it, you'll see for whatever reason, because of the way it was imported, it doesn't let me just go in and edit this one or delete it. So let's say I've made a mistake with that one, or maybe I've imported it twice. So I've got a duplicate. Now, I just want to get rid of it. So yes, I could make a note of that and make a note of all the details and post a manual reversal. But if I make a note of the date, which this one is dated 1st of the 11th, 2018, and I could even make a note of the transaction numbers as well if I wanted to. So transaction 18 through to transaction 24. But the date's probably the key element. So I want to get rid of, and I want to reverse 18 to 24. I don't want to have to do it manually. So all we do is we pop into nominal codes armed with that little bit of information, and we've got the journal reversal option at the top. Now remember, it's available in all levels of the software, this journal reversal option. So if you haven't got it, it's going to be because either you're on an absolutely ancient version and you need to get up to date, or your user access levels, you don't have access to that, or maybe you've just hidden it from your toolbar. So all we're going to do, I'm just going to click journal reversal at the top. Now it does prompt you at this stage to print the daybook nominal ledger report. So it's a little list of the journals that you've posted. I've never really come across anyone that's actually done the report at that point. I would encourage you maybe to back up at this point. Obviously, just click the button, take you back up. And then once you've done that, we click OK. Now, when we click OK, we'll get this little sort of criteria window. So it gives you the transaction range. So as you can see, I've hardly got any transactions on this one at all. Yours might go up to hundreds of thousands. So I would just accept that. Just accept that transaction range. The only thing you really need to change at this point is the date of the journal. So what was the date of the journal that you want to reverse? So if I just pop in that date, I've not amended anything else. So I've just popped in that date, and then I'm going to click OK. What that does, it filters through all of your journals, and it'll list any journals that meet that criteria. Now, you might have loads of journals posted on the same date, like different sets of journals. So it'll list them. And what you need to do at this point is go through and select the ones that you want to reverse. Now you'll see that as I select these transactions, as I highlight them, it'll start giving me a total of credits and debits. And if I just highlighted those and clicked reverse, you'll see it doesn't balance at the moment. And when I click reverse, I'll get a message along those lines. The journals that you've selected, they don't balance. So as normal, your debits total and credits total has to be equal. It's not going to let you cause a problem. So if we select them, the ones that we want to remove, or reverse I should say, so we'll highlight them. You can see the totals now equal, so we've got 0 as the difference. And then all I do is I click reverse. It confirms the journals that I've selected that I want to reverse. And then all I do is I click save. And that's it done. So if I pop into transactions, you'll see that the original journal is still there. Just as it was for that closing stock, I manually reversed that one, so I did a new journal. So it's exactly what the software has done as well. It's posted an additional journal. If we go down to the bottom, so that was the original, 18 to 24. So it's now posted an additional journal to the end of my transactions list to reverse it. So it's used the same date, it's reversed the debits and credits, it's used the original values, it's used the original tax codes. The only thing that's a little bit different is the detail. So this one will say reversal of transaction 18. So if we were to compare transaction 29 to 18, you'll see they're to the same nominal code. It's just the original one was a credit. The new one here is a debit. Everything else is the same date, same value, etc. So good option, that one. If you just need to reverse a journal, maybe you've imported something twice, for instance, or along those lines, you've entered it twice and you just want to get rid of it. And again, it's only if it's restricted. I would always try the edit and delete options first if they're available too. If they are, great. If not, you've got this as a great option for you. Right, okay, any final questions? If you want to pop them in there, we'll pick those up as best we can. I think Jackie's just about on top of the questions. So keep her busy, keep those questions coming. If you weren't quite with us at the beginning of the session and you're thinking, well, how do I submit a question? You just need, on your toolbar down the side, you just need to click the little speech bubble icon and then you'll get access to that little box in the bottom right-hand corner. So pop it in there, click send, and we'll try and pick them up. It does bring us to the end of the demos though, but just to give you a little idea of some of the additional support you've got available. Remember, our help centers available either directly from within your software. You'll either have a help option in the top right-hand corner of the screen you're looking at. You can always press F1. It'll bring up the help relating to what you're looking at. Or if you prefer and you want to access that outside of Sage, just open your browser, go to sage.co.uk/help. To give you an idea of some of the upcoming webinars we've got, so common sessions that we often run, year end, running those at the moment. We've been running them for quite some time now. VAT return, we always run those just about every month as well, just to help you. We've actually split it into 3 parts to make it a bit easier. So if you are new to Sage, you've never really run a VAT return before, a bit more sort of a bite size areas that we're looking at when you're running the VAT return, just to try and break it down so you can absorb it a little bit easier. Other sessions, filters, quick search, invoice payments, loads of sessions. That's just for November. We've got December booked in as well. So do have a look when you get your follow-up email. Remember that follow-up email will include the link to the recording as well, so you'll get that automatically. Tarek, you just mentioned about that one. Mentioned that one at the beginning as well. You always get a follow-up email, and it should always include the link to the recording and also the other recordings as well. That'll be sent automatically. So you get that round about an hour after we finish. For our corrections webinar series, we've now run both sessions for customers and suppliers. We've run the journals one today. You've still got opportunities to attend the VAT transactions. So Jackie will be taking you through that one, looking at if transactions are classed as being VAT reconciled and you need to amend them. What impact does that have and what does it mean? Next week, I'll be guiding you through invoices and orders and the various corrections and also stock, if you need to correct that. So it links quite closely with the invoices and orders corrections webinar. So those two will go hand in hand. Abby's going to be taking you through bank reconciliation and bank feeds. So if you need to correct those in any shape or form, what does it look like? And then Matt will be taking you through the bank transaction session, which will be, I think, the second week of December for that one. So loads of opportunities. Get yourself signed up. Remember, they're all free to attend. So get yourself signed up for as many as you want. If you can't attend, we always make the recordings available afterwards. Right, now just before I open up to questions, if there are any outstanding, I'll have a look at that in a moment. Let me quickly thank you for coming along. I hope you've enjoyed the session today. Again, hopefully it's just armed you a little bit. So if you do make that correction, it gives you an idea of what options you've got. You don't want like mistakes to get in your way. I just need to correct them as quickly as possible. So hopefully you've understood those options that you've got available to you. And again, if you attend the other corrections webinars, hopefully it'll help you in other areas as well. So if you've made a mistake against a customer or one of your bank transactions, you'll have an understanding of what options you've got and what it means. Now, as you leave today's session, there will be an opportunity to complete a short survey. It should take you about a minute max. If you can complete that, it'd be greatly appreciated. It's all we ask, other than giving up a little bit of your time to attend the webinar. But if you can take another minute just to pop some comments on there, give us a score, any thoughts, ideas, maybe topics you'd like to see covered that you want to share with us, pop it on the survey that appears as you leave. And your follow-up email will be with you in round about an hour's time. So get yourself registered, do check out the links. And if you can't, remember the recordings will be made available. Right, any additional questions? I got a question from Jane earlier as well. So Jane's just asking, can you show an example of moving, I'm assuming that means a value from one nominal code to another. So it depends. It's going to depend on what your journal is, Jane. So let's quickly have a look at that one. Doesn't really relate to corrections, that one, but we'll quickly run through it. So let's say I've got a balance here it's got £100 credit. And let's say that should have been, for whatever reason, it should be against 0050. So we've got a balance there. All we do is we'd want to debit that nominal code and credit the other one to essentially move that balance. Now again, it could well be it's got a debit balance, you want to move all of it or even just part of it. All you do is you'd go into journal entry, find the relevant, or pop in the relevant date that you want to use. I'll just use today's date. Pop in your nominal code, and it was originally a credit, so I'm going to say I want to transfer £100. So I want to essentially pop the opposite. So how much am I reducing that credit balance by in this case? I want to reduce it by 100, and I want to transfer that to the other nominal code. So I'm going to credit that one. Credit it, and I'll just save it. Click yes to that prompt, and you'll now see that the balance that I did have as a credit balance, because I popped in a debit for an equal value, it's essentially zeroed it out. The £100 debit is equal to the £100 credit, zeroes it, and we've now got that balance against the other nominal code. But again, it depends on what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how much it's for. It may be a debit balance, you want to transfer some of it. It varies. Again, there's loads of great training information available from our the Sage U area of our website. So just head along to Sage University. That's www.sageu.com. You'll need to set yourself up with a logon, but loads of great free training in there as well. Hope that helps, Jane. Any other questions? I think we're just about on top of the questions as it stands. You do think of any, make sure do check out the information in the help center. You don't need to struggle with anything as well. Our support team is on hand if you need a little bit of extra assistance or support with a particular query that you've got. Get in touch. Right, just about on top of the questions, so we'll end the webinar just at that point. Once again, many thanks for coming along. Hope you have enjoyed it. It's given you a little bit more, just develop your knowledge just that little bit more and giving you a little bit more confidence, and maybe you can use that journal reversal option to save yourself a little bit of time now, or even just the edit and delete options. Right, we'll end the webinar at that point. Many thanks for coming along. If you can complete the survey, it'd be greatly appreciated, but otherwise take care, and hopefully we'll see you on another webinar soon. Many thanks.